iRacing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get full!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's coverage of the 2021 Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series live on SimSpeed TV. I'm Bo Albert, and alongside me tonight, as always, is Mr. Simon Mazoma, and in the director's chair, as always, is Mr. J.K. Kennedy. Tonight takes place at the streets of Detroit, but first, let's take a short view back to the past to round 4, which took place at Road America, and boy oh boy, did we have an interesting race there. It wasn't the lights to flag thriller that we all thought it might have been, but what we did get was something entirely different. Off the start, it was a brilliant start from the Audi R8 driven by Vlad, but it was all behind where the action was, as it was side by side between Keller and Stepkowski in the two McLarens, as we saw many drivers making little mistakes at the exit of turn 1, but what you're about to see is not for the faint-hearted, as a Ferrari goes spinning at turn 1, gets collected by one, and then out of nowhere it starts to cause a chain reaction, and many drivers get involved, and up and over out of turn 1, we would see all kinds of chaos flying through the air with Sam Devontier. And what we'll do now is go on board at the view of Janssen Lin in the 4GT, one of the only in this particular race, one of two, and you'll see he actually brakes just about in time for the wreck, and then kablamo, he gets absolutely sent into the sky. But thankfully, there was a lot more going on in the race, as we saw there Carnero in the Latima Racing Ferrari getting all kind of out of shape, and that allowed Koloboksov in the other Audi R8 LMS to get up inside at Canada corner and make the move stick. But Koloboksov was not done with yet. That Audi had plenty of pace, and in towards turn number 5, he had to go the long way around the outside on Pers, but it wasn't going to happen at turn 4. It was the run to turn 5 where it would happen underneath the Corvette bridge in just a moment's time, hard on the brakes. The long way around the outside, threads the needle, and makes it happen as well. And that was a great battle that went on for quite some time in this particular race, as the Ferrari got all kinds of out of shape in the background. But there was also a battle up at second and third place as well, with Keller under all kind... Well, sorry, he was attacking a lot of the back bumper of Stepkowski, who was in second at the time in the green McLaren, but it would be Keller in the end who got the black McLaren up to the inside and ended up getting second place, but none of them came close to Vlad Komechev in the Audi R8, who led from start to finish, an absolutely commanding drive at Road America. And can he go back-to-back? We don't know if he's in this race tonight, but if he is a driver who's going to have plenty of eyes on him. So what that does to the championship standings is it still leaves Moritz Lohner on the top of the leaderboard, despite not scoring a single win. Consistency is paying off dearly. Fourth place goes to Denis Grabowski with a staggering 15 wins, and he is still within 100 points of Moritz Lohner as well. Canapino and Nurmi up there as well. So overall, it's only round number 5 at the moment. There is still a long way to go in this championship. As Simon, we get a look at the Google Earth map. Where exactly is Belle Isle?
Thank you. We are here at the Motor City known as Detroit, Michigan, just west of where we were at Road America. Very tight concrete jungle known as Belle Isle. We'll get a look at the track map up now. As you can see, 14 turns, a 3.7 kilometer circuit, opened in 1982, but its current layout has been in circuit since 1992. As we said, it's a tight concrete jungle, very, very bumpy, very much a track where you have to be brave and committed every lap if you want to be quick around here. Janssen Lin does done another lap for us around this incredible circuit in the Ford GT3, and we will take you there now as we begin this lap, coming out of the slight kink onto the front straight across the start finish line to turn 1 and 2. Important to get the apex of both these corners. This will set your run up as you come out of this corner. Be careful, get the car right up to the wall, but be careful over that crest. It wants to unsettle the car as well. We head down to turn number 3, get the car as wide as you can, braking over the bumps. Important to grab the curb. This helps rotate the car through the corner. As we head up to turn 4 again, you want to use as much of this curb to help it rotate and get the car right out to the wall. Now, this little succession here, kind of like the staircase at Adelaide, you kind of want to just use as much track as you can. 6, you want to be as late as you can, let the car run out and maximize your run all the way up to turn 7. You want to set yourself up for turn 7 as well. It's bumpy on the way in and you want to make sure the car is as straight as possible to maximize the braking effort. Again, grab the curb, pull it around, let it go as wide as you can. Here is where the commitment starts. As you go through turn 8, run up to 9, 10, 11, the fast sweeping corner. Try and keep the car tight as you possibly can into 11. Again, tight. Careful on the exit. There is a big bump that tries to force you out against the wall, so be very gentle with the throttle. And then the 2 hardest corners on this track, 12 and 13. Massive time to made here and very easy to make a mistake as you come out of 13. Very easy to grab the wall as we just saw it there as well. That is a lap around Detroit and Belle Isle, and that is just one lap of a torture test that we're going to have tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more than one lap around here tonight. These drivers are going to have their work cut out for them if they are going to be the one climbing to the top of the podium at the end of it all. Just into qualifying at the moment, and on screen is Dave Cameron, a name that I'm sure many drivers or viewers of the YouTube stream will be familiar with as well, a very popular YouTuber. He actually gave me a shout out on his latest YouTube video, so Dave, make sure everyone in the viewers who was watching the broadcast, go and subscribe to youtube.com/DaveCam as well. I've returned the favor, buddy, and well done on provisional pole position at the moment in the Ferrari as well, but I've spoke too soon because E2 Vanio Kungus has managed to go to the top as well. A great lap there as we turn our attention now to Matt Gator, a very experienced driver on the Forza Motorsport platform. So not the game he is so used to. Qualified for Le Mans Esports, and I got to meet him there. A fantastic guy and a very enthusiastic about his sim racing. Recently moved to iRacing, and as you're about to see, he is not half bad either. 28.3 to open his account. He goes 4th place at the moment, but don't be surprised if there's more to come from car number 1.
Yeah, we can see him on track. Lap at the moment. We see Marco as well heading around. Now, this is that staircase section we talked about earlier. You want to get as wide as you can. It is so easy to grab that inside wall coming through that section there. So you want to make sure you sort of just stay just as wide so you don't make that little mistake running down. So you're back with Dave Cameron. The 2 last corners. Lots of time that can be made here. We go real quick. You can see grabbing that. The V8 measure on the V8 GT3 motor Ferrari right out. Will he grab 6th gear? No. But we'll go P7 for the moment. Not using all the way to 6th gear into turn 1. So you can tell how short the run is all the way up there to the first turn. Leo Messneger in P2 at the moment, coming through the infield section, trying to get the right out of that corner. Be careful of that bump. It will catch you out if you are not careful at all. As you can see, the last 2 corners going to make the run to the front straight, and Marco at the moment is on pole with a 27.8.
Yeah, he was already on pole, but he's really stamped his authority, hasn't he? Leo Masnaga comes across the line, and how close do you like it? 300ths of a second, but sadly, it was on the wrong side of the time there for Leo, and he will not be able to improve. We've still got one driver on a lap at the moment that I can see, and that's Tobias Rona in the beautiful BMW M4, and great to see the BMW on track as well. Of course, it's not the biggest representation since its debut. Of course, this is a prototype car as well, and Tobias, I'm afraid, my friend, I think he just collected the outside wall, and if so, that is going to be an invalidated lap, and he's just done it again, I think, as well, as he is really abusing this car around this circuit. And it's worth remembering as well, at a street circuit, so much of your lap time is how committed against the walls are you. No lap time recorded as I expected there. One driver still on a lap at the moment is Felipe Gil as well. Oh, sorry, we'll go to look at Gerard Burrell at the moment, who is coming across the line. Doesn't have a lap time set at the moment, so he's got a bit of work to do. Cross the line at a 30.5, so not bad at all. We'll go 25th and elects not to do a second lap despite having the time to do so. Felipe Gil is on a lap at the moment and is just heading towards the final few corners at the moment. We'll see how this lap time goes for him. Currently 19th on a 29.9, and he is hustling the Audi around here. Look at get thrown around that final section of corners. What can he do? The finish line comes up quick. It is ticking 27, 28, stops it, and a 29.4, a half a second improvement, which nets him 7 spots.
Yeah, that's a big difference there. You can sort of see from the lap times at the moment that 1:29 range just seems to be the big spot. So if you can find yourself a few tenths there, you'll actually get yourself up quite a few spots. Because you look at Jenston at the moment, looks like he
On a third lap.
On third lap, so yeah, he'd be
Goran
done.
Novak. We do have Goran Novak on a lap at the moment. It's his first lap of the session, and he's only going to get 1 lap with the amount of time remaining as well. So Goran leaving it very, very late. And it is late in the afternoon, so I wonder if he's just trying to get the coolest track conditions possible to make sure that he has the best possible chance at a good lap. Only 1 shot at this for Goran. It's not going to be easy for him, but what can Mr. Novak do in the Ferrari 488 GT3? Stops the clock at a 1:32 and gets himself from what would have been last on the grid to 26. So a nice gain there of about 3 spots. And sadly for anyone else, this clock is going to be running out on them, and we are going to be left with our 29-car grid for tonight's race. It's not the biggest strength of field we have seen all season, but it's the streets of Belle Isle. There's close walls, there's pit strategy. It's the Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series in 2021. So low soft or not, we are going to have a high soft of entertainment. It's going to be a good one as we get a look at the beautiful Scott Fountain. And I'm talking about the architecture, not our other director, as we take a look at our starting grid. And on pole position, once it updates on your screen, it will actually be Marco Kayla who will start from pole position. There we go, ahead of Leo Masnaga there. So only 300ths of a second separating those two, with Ito Vanio Kungas in third, Matt Gator in fourth, Dave Cameron gets a brilliant top 5 starting position. Peter will start from 6th place ahead of Sam Devontier, Michael Katab, Alvaro Martin, and Regis Lotin rounds out the top 10.
And we move on to P11. Jens Hellier will start there in the BMW on a 1:29 for Felipe Gil in P12. Edward Deering in the McLaren will start 13th. Tobias Rona 14th. Kevin Veldman will be 15th in the Lamborghini. Tommy DeWild in 16th. Jan Aragonis will be 17th. Jose Manuel Castillo Gil in 18th. William Ahola in 19th. And Phil Hudson rounding out the top 20.
From 21st on the grid, on row 11, we have Fabio Iotti, who lines up alongside Darren Schoon in 22nd. Dennis Ostertag in 23rd, ahead of Daniel Valk in 24th in the gorgeous Audi R8 LMS, and there is plenty of them in tonight's race. Gerard Burrell in 25th, with Goran Novak, who we saw finishing his one and only qualifying lap in 26th, ahead of Jensen Adrian Nesens in 27th, Maxim Feldes in 28th, and Anders van Delius in 29th. So 29 cars on the grid, and as you can see, it is a very short pace lap. And how's the timing? Pace car starts rolling off as we get ready to race on a track at 33 degrees track temp. So it's a little bit warm, so these drivers will have to factor that in as our leading drivers get ready for the start. Almost no time to prepare at all. We're already into the final corner. We are getting ready for green lights, green flag racing here at the streets of Belle Isle. It's tight racing, it's aggressive racing, it's an early jump from Marco, and a brilliant one as well, as there's a fight going on for second behind as the cars all stream their way towards turn number 1. It's a high-speed start for a street circuit as everyone tries to sort themselves through. Single file for the most part, which is great to see. But it's turn number 3 where we often see a bottleneck as the drivers continue to stream through turns 1 and 2. And look at that, it's a beautiful sight there for all these drivers. You can see Dave Cameron looking up the inside there on the 6th place driver of Peter, who makes that position work as well. The drivers making their way through turn number 3. So far, so good. And I've got to say, despite a little touch for Dennis Ostertag, who does stay on the circuit, overall, the drivers have done an absolutely phenomenal job to keep the racing clean as they all funnel their way now through the staircase section of the track. And once again, they're just being very patient, very, very resilient against one another. Perhaps they've learnt a little bit, Simon, after what we saw last week at Road America.
Absolutely, this has just been a fantastic start. Like you said, we usually see a little bit of contact. 1, 2, turn 3 is where that bottleneck occurs. We see most of the contact, but this is a fantastic start from everyone so far. Start to make our way around the fountain section of the track. Very tight, very committed you need to be. You can see everyone just line astern at the moment. No one looking to really make big moves. There's a little bit of a look down the pack. Edward Deering had a little bit of a look at Tobias Rona, but I don't think anything was going to happen there. As see them heading around for the first time to complete a lap. So fantastic start again from everyone. So now it's going to be how confident are people going to be in passing. There's not a lot of passing opportunities. Turn 3 is probably your best bet. Heading into turn 7, it's probably your other best opportunity, but you know, you've got to be able to get up close to the guy in front of you. Aero wash will probably play a bit of a factor as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if people can get passing done tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. One driver that's going the wrong direction for passing is Jose Manuel Casado Gil at the moment. He was down in 21st in the running order at the moment. He had a really poor run there and lost quite a few spots. We also saw him in the background there, very opportunistic from Dennis Ostertag as well, but a bit of a slow getaway himself and is now making a bit of a comeback. So this little back half of the grid here is getting very feisty and looking to make moves on one another. But back up to the front of the field, another thing we have to mention as well is if anyone has any questions about BOP, it is currently a McLaren from a Ferrari from two Audis side by side through that section of the circuit. Very close indeed. And it is still Vanio Kangas who holds on the position ahead of Matt Gates. And I said Matt is a fast driver. He is aggressive. And if he wants to make a pass, he knows how to set up a move and go for it as well. So this might be the battle pack to watch because it also features the likes of Dave Cameron, RP to Sam Devontier, and Michael Katab is holding onto the back as well in the Ferrari. And look how close they get to the outside wall as well. A beautiful shot there as they funnel their way through the double right-hander to end the lap and then go on to begin lap number 3. And Matt Gates is still holding that place at the moment. But at the moment, Sam Devontier is having none of waiting. He is not keen on sitting behind for too long at all. And our Peter at the moment is doing a fantastic job despite a little bit of front right damage. You can see that Audi has found the concrete walls at some point on the circuit and is perhaps just being a little bit slow, a little bit unhappy, and he squeezes into the braking zone on Sam Devontier. And sadly, a bit of a headlight flash there as well. So Sam, not too impressed about that on the very beautifully liveried car that Sam Devontier runs on quite a lot of his particular cars. But he is going to have to find the way past at the moment because Peter is forming a bit of a bottleneck with that damage.
Yeah, a little bit at the moment. You did mention the bop. I actually am quite impressed by this. At the moment, we've got a Ferrari setting the pace and a McLaren leading the field. Now, this track, you typically lean it towards being an Audi-dominated circuit. It's very tight, very twisty, and that's where the Audi tends to excel in most of the tracks we go to. So to see the Ferrari and the McLaren really setting the pace tonight and the Audi sort of fighting amongst themselves definitely speaks for how good the bop is at the moment. So you can see this little pack at the moment. Don't think they're going to be separating themselves anytime soon. Marco out front at the moment. Leo Messneger, like I said, he's holding on beautifully at the moment. Last lap around, he did the fastest lap of the race, so it's definitely a lot of pace in that Ferrari. They were much quicker than the group that's coming up behind them at the moment. So you see having a little bit of a look at the moment as they come onto the front straight to turn 1. Got to try and get this run through the corner. It is so critical to get the run through here, especially if you want to set up a passing opportunity down at turn 3. If you haven't got the run off that corner, it's not really going to create an opportunity, and it looks like it's going to be the same thing here. It's not going to get enough of a run to have a look into the next corner. And you can see Sam in the meat and the sandwich in that little battle pack, and then we've got this one following up behind it as well. This pack hasn't really gone anywhere. Tobias Rona, another one in this back. He actually has gone up a spot, we can see, from 14th to 13th. But this you see some more battle packs forming down the field. So, and there was always a bit of contact. That's a big hit, and that's caught up a few. That's cropping up more. You can see 3-4 cars involved in that. The Ferrari does not look happy.
No, not at all. Big contact there for the Ahola transport car. So let's see exactly how this has happened. And he's got a car. Oh, wow. Just too fast on entry from the Lamborghini. And I think he's just clipped the rear of the Ferrari, unsettled it quite massively, got the rear wheels off the ground. That was Kevin Veldman, who I think may just be at fault there. And actually, there was Ahola getting past there at turn number 3. Gets a slightly, not even a poor exit as such, just very late on the brakes by Veldman. And sadly turns Ahola around, and he is now retired from the race as well, unsurprisingly, with the damage to his car. So that's a shame to see there, because Ahola was doing very well inside the top 20. And sadly, today is just not their day, as this battle at the front continues to rage on, as Leo Masnaga is continuing to apply the blowtorch to the back of Marco Kayla in the McLaren, who of course got a podium last week. He was very, very competitive at Road America. Sadly wasn't to be in terms of getting second place. He was involved in that great fight we saw to the end as Dennis Ostertag goes for the alternate pit strategy and pits extremely early indeed. So interesting to see him pitting so early, just 6.5 minutes into this race. So an interesting strategy there, but we'll see how it pans out as third, fourth, and fifth have all begun just to spread out a little bit and aren't really looking to attack one another. But the issue is, for these drivers, when you're following a car at a street circuit, you lose all your references around you. It's somewhere like, let's say, Daytona Road Course, for example, where it's quite open, you've got a lot of vision all around you. When you're right up behind the rear wing of the car in front, you still have enough vision around you to really get an idea of where your car's positioned and where to turn in for corners. At a street circuit where millimeters are the difference between you and not grass, but concrete wall, being behind someone at a street circuit is a whole different challenge, Simon.
Absolutely, it's very easy to sort of make it, if you're battling with someone, to make a very simple mistake. You know, typically when you try to sort of try different moves, try and get the position of the guy in front of you, you try and sort of put them in a position where it benefits you, make them work a bit harder. You can see Tobias Rona getting very sideways out of the turn 13 complex, just barely holding on to it. But yeah, when you're trying to sort of put someone in a position to make a pass happen, street circuits make it a lot harder because you don't have that sort of ability. You know, you've got to sort of contend with the elements, and that is the concrete barriers around you. So, you know, it's passing does become definitely harder when you come to a street circuit, even if it is a fairly wide open circuit. Tobias, you can see him running wide again out of turn 3. He seems to be struggling a lot with his car at the moment. The pace seemed all right at the start, but now he's falling away from the pack in front of him at the moment. You can see Felipe Gil and Jens Hellier, but he's falling into the clutches of Edward Deering, who was, even at the start of this race, was having a sniff trying to get past. So this BMW does not seem to be happy at the moment, and the McLaren, I think much to a lot of people's surprise, to be quite honest, is really being the aggressor in this one. This is not a track that you'd think would suit it. So yeah, hopefully Edward can work out a pass. We can see Sam all over the back again of Peter. Looks like he's going to get the run as they go up to turn 12. He is alongside, and that's going to be job done. As you can see behind him as well, it would be Michael Kotab as well, be looking to...
Just quickly, I need to cut in apologies here. Regis Lowton in the McLaren just slams the wall, and very quickly he dives onto pit lane, and it was a big hit into the outside wall. Motum simulation replay up on screen, and that is definitely a steering alignment adjustment that he did not need on this McLaren. It comes up in just a few seconds at this next right-hander. You'll see too much entry speed, clips the curb, and kablam into the outside wall. And actually what has now happened is he has parked that car and left the server. So that is a race-ending incident there for Regis Lowton in the McLaren. The good strength of the McLaren is it has a lot of curb ability. It can really use the bumps. It can, abuse them and not, be thrown around. It has really good damping. It can really absorb any kind of impact. But sadly, that was an impact too far, and Regis Lowton is going to be another retirement now. I believe that's retirement number 4 in this particular race. So a shame to see there. And, well, the Detroit Belle Isle Wolves claim a victim.
They do claim another victim, and that's something I did sort of mention earlier when we sort of looked at that track map. Like I said, those two corners, they don't look overly difficult, but they're the two ones that are somehow easiest to make the mistakes on. And that was just another classic case that we all sort of do when we're learning this track, and we're all trying to push as hard as we can every lap. It's just a textbook issue that we sort of find in those corners. And this battle for third, fourth is still going along at the moment. We've sort of had a few drop off, but we can see now as well, as we sort of looked at earlier, we've got Peter and Kotab as well having the battle. So Sam's been able to sort of get in front, and now he's starting to stretch the legs of that Audi at the moment. So he's definitely being held behind a little bit. So you can see if this Ferrari, as they run down into turn 3, he's going to have a little look, but I don't think he's ever going to be close enough to have a real go. You can see they head through this uphill section, this staircase style section. You can see trying to use as much track as they can. Very good run through here at the moment. So also this corner, you can see it was very wide just then. Peter, as he came out of that corner, got right up close to the wall, had to really pull it back. Not quite enough of a mistake to to allow Kotab to really have a look as they head into the fountain section of the circuit. He's going to have to bide his time a little bit now. You can't really get a real opportunity unless they make a fairly decent mistake. You're not really going to have a chance to pass here. So this is where he's got to sort of focus on creating those opportunities again to make those passes. So he's got a fantastic, actually no, he slid off that corner a little bit and that's compromised his run. So that's where you've got to make it count. You've got to set yourself up for this run. And then you can get onto the front straight, potentially look at a run at 1, or even if you go, say, into turn 3. So this is where you've got to make it count into 1 and 2. Focus on that apexes. You've got to make sure you get the car to flow and rotate. You can see he's using the curves very nicely through there. It's always our Peter. And, oh, that is a scrape on the wall. Kotab definitely made some contact there.
No, he absolutely did, and that was a big hit there. He's going to get away with it. He won't, be suffering with too much damage from that, but he's definitely, just a bit of a confidence knock there. It's not what you need to do. He's trying to apply the blowtorch to the car in front and set up a move. Speaking of setting up a move, Jose Manuel Casado Gil is just trying to get into the draft, but while we go to a replay, I don't think he's going to be close enough, so you won't miss any action on screen at all. And we'll have a look at what has happened back here, because these drivers are all getting very close to one another. And we saw a Lamborghini in the background there, who looks to just be a little bit off the pace as well. As we take a look at Juan Aragon's in position number 16 at the moment. What has happened here for Juan? I think we're just going to get a look at what has happened behind with the Ferrari. No, nothing quite in it that time. But they're all running very, very close to the wall. And sadly for Jose Manuel Casado Gil, he's just lost a little bit of time to the cars in front. So we sort of dropped off a 3-car train. And we'll just see if Juan and Phil Hudson make any contact with us, which they almost did, into that next corner there. So these drivers getting very close to one another at the moment as the McLaren continues to lead and not looking like he's really got the pace to challenge or catch the drivers in front, but still nonetheless doing a great job to just hold the track position at the moment.
Yeah, and speaking of someone who's setting the pace, Matt Gator just noticed that last lap. He put in the storming lap time. He's actually started to match the leaders and he's having a look into turn 3. He's got the nose just there, but he's not quite enough. He got himself to the B pillar, but could not quite get the job done. Matt Gator's pace has switched on phenomenally at the moment. You can see coming through this section here, trying to remember what turns they are again, but as they come onto the straight, the pit stops are starting to happen as well. We can see Edward Deering is also coming to the pits as well with, I believe that was Tobias Rayner. That's what I was thinking of. So pit stops starting to occur at the moment. Matt Gator still all over the back. I think a pass will be coming here. The pace he's got at the moment, he's doing a phenomenal job through this section. Oh, no! Talking him up a little bit too much there, I think, because he's slid the car. Very easy to do in the Audis. They are well known for the little slide that they like to do, although it's much better now to control. So now the 12-13 complex, this is where you got to make it count, and this is where he has been very quick at the moment. So be keen to see how he gets off 1 and 2, because he's got half a look down at turn 3 in the previous lap. So he's got the pace. We could see him head into 1. Got a very nice run through 2, but is he going to be close enough? Definitely not on this lap. He was a lot closer as they came onto the straight lap before, but definitely not going to have an opportunity this time. So he'll have to rethink where he wants to make the pass. Beautifully under brakes. He actually closed that gap up quite a bit that time through turn 3, heading through 4. He is all over the back again. So now, is he going to try and set this pass up to try and have a go down at turn 7? Coming out of 6 now. You can see at the moment getting a bit sideways off the corner, but still not any closer. So pace seems to have dropped off a little bit now. He was all over the back, but yeah, maybe he's going to have to settle in and try and wait for another opportunity.
Well, I think that little slide he had, well, just coming up to where we are on track right now, right about here was where the slide was. In fact, it's the car in front this time around of E2 Vanio Kungas, who was the driver getting a little bit out of shape. I think that's where Matt just sort of hurt his tyres a little bit, and he had to drive a bit of a slower, a bit of an easier lap, just to make sure he got the tyres underneath his car once again. So they're just all looking after each other at the moment, but Matt is a lot closer on this particular lap. If he can just get a good exit here is where E2 gets a little bit bouncy, a little bit too much curb. He's not going to get the run into turn number 1, but if he can get a good turn 1 and 2, maybe he can get a run into turn number 3. Late on the brakes goes Gator, holds a little bit tighter to the right, opens up the left, get the run, get the power, and I'm going to say just a little bit too far back this time around. We'll see how close he can get, and that'll be useful information for Matt to see if he can make a move in the coming laps. But this particular time around, not close enough.
Yeah, he is so strong. Just watching him there into turn 3, he is so much stronger under brakes. So that sort of gives me the impression that that's going to be the passing spot for him. And Etu's going to be actually have to be aware of that. If he gets a really good run off turn 1 and 2, that's where the opportunity is going to be. So Etu's got to be aware of that and maybe have to cover off if need be, or maybe even needs to look for the pits at the moment, which we sort of spoke about a lot of times, is trying to take the opportunities using that pitch strategy. And oh, he's going to make the dive. That was a solid attempt there. It almost looked like that was going to be it. So they come, he's sliding all over the shop. He is desperately trying to get past at the moment. Etu trying as hard as well as they come off turn 11, running up to 12, and Etu got a solid run. Matt just did not get the power down at all. He's not going to create an opportunity for him. As you see, coming out of the final turn, heading onto the front straight, he's well back at the moment. I don't think that's going to be create opportunity. So that you can see that's sort of the second time that sort of happened now. He goes for the lunge, but doesn't quite really have the chance there. He sort of gets up to the door and that's it. And now we're going to be sort of stuck in this moment where he can't really attack now because he's burnt the tires up, I'd say. Having that attempt, trying to have a go, and so now he is just so good under brakes into turn 3 at the moment. That's where he's making all his time. So, but yeah, it's easy enough. You sort of go for the opportunities thinking you can get it done, but the problem is unless you're certain, and you get this situation where you're sort of heating up your tires, you're really driving aggressive to get the opportunities, but if you can't get the pass done, it's not really worth it at the end.
No, not at all. Another battle that slowly just crept up on us a little bit as well involves Sam Devontier and Dave Cameron as well. In fact, it's another battle as well with Phil Hudson going, oh, he's defending up the inside, but it wasn't enough. And Kevin Veldman, who we saw make that contact a little bit earlier, is still recovering and makes that spot happen. So a great move there as we go up to Dave Cameron and Sam Devontier. And Dave's been lapping in the 29.5s, whereas the car behind is lapping somewhere in the high 28s. So there's a bit of a pace discrepancy between these two, and Dave has dropped off the two cars in front and is falling into the clutches of the car behind. So he's going to be a little bit careful here, this Dave. Of course, a very experienced driver, plenty of racecraft, knows what he's doing, but Sam Devontier is no other as well. He knows exactly what to do. And that Audi is looking very fast indeed at the moment through turns 1. Oh, what's happening?
Oh.
What's happening here? Matt Gator and Vanio Kungus have gone off the road and caused chaos. We'll stay with this battle at the moment because this is going to be a drag race into turn number 3 because that has killed Dave Cameron's run. Devontier is going to go past 3 wide into turn 3. Peter threads the middle or tries to. Cameron laid on the brakes. Outbrakes himself. Devontier has gone down to 5th. And now Peter is up the inside to try and inherit Wall B. 3rd spot on the podium. Side by side, Cameron's in the wall. Big hit there for him. How's the steering damage? And look at this now. Michael Katab makes contact. Devontier in the wall. Vanio Kungus for the second time in a single sector has been involved in contact. It was going bad. We knew it was going to go bad. It's got worse. It has got worse. So we need yellow flags because Jen Taylor has sadly been caught out. Thankfully, there is no cars coming for at least a few more moments with Tommy DeWild as Devontier is going to try and spin the car around. Be careful when you do that, my friends. What a half a lap we have just witnessed. We might try and get some replays up on screen in just a moment or two's time because something went wrong for Vanio Kungus and Matt Gator. So let's go up to them. It was a great run from Gator down the final corner, heading towards turn 1. It was a dive. It was a big dive. He was up the inside, but it's not usually a place you would pass. And the two slid perfectly to block the track. Cameron cuts the corner. Devontier cuts the corner. And Peter behind inherited completely because Devontier really should have had this position locked away. He should be in 3rd spot right now. But Cameron broke so late, and Peter was, recognized that, could go for the cutback on the exit. And all that's done is really caught out Devontier. And at this point, Kotab had got into the battle as well, as we see Cameron fired into the fence. And then it goes a bit wrong here. And, Kotab, that's a big dive, my friend. Yes, you were up the inside, but there's no way Devontier would have ever seen you. And sadly, for one more driver who would slide on into the scene, great avoidance. I was going to say avoidance action. It was so close, but that was just a chaotic few moments there, Simon.
Yeah, that was a massively chaotic moment, and you got to feel sorry for Sam. He had such a shocker last week, and coming here to Detroit, he's been driving amazing, and prior to sort of that, we were seeing the pace coming out of that Audi. He was doing a fantastic job, so, yeah, not really his fault. Kotab probably very eager to get that pass done. As he said, he was there, but it's a very, very opportunistic move, and most of the time probably won't pull off. So just, yeah, very sad for Sam in that one. As we can see, Matt Gator again having a bit of a look under brakes. Is he going to get it done this time? This time they don't make contact. Etu steps out of the way, but I don't think
Etu's got the run.
It's not going to be over yet, exactly, as they get the run down into turn 1. He's definitely got the draft. Is he going to return serve? Is he going to have another go? No, he's actually going to back out of that one. But then we've got turn 3 as well, and he's got a really good run coming out of turn 2 as they head down the straight to turn 3. Has he got the draft though? It looks like the legs. Oh, we've got another car around. Juan Aragonés has gone, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a pass from Etu here. They stay line astern for the following lap.
They do indeed. So Venier Kungus will have to sit behind Gator for another lap. And if Gator does indeed have the better pace, then maybe he can just afford to follow and try and pick up some spots that way. But these two, they still have a chance to get back to where they were. They were fighting for third spot, and Peter, we saw that Gator has very good pace, and Peter really isn't that much further up the road. And let's not forget, there is damage to the front right quarter panel of that Audi R8 just behind Dave Cameron. He copped a big hit into the left side wall. And we'll actually get a look in just a few moments' time. We've got these little left-hand kinks here, and then a right-hander, and then we have a straight. And we'll just try and get a bit of a look at how the steering angle is on that particular Ferrari. And overall, I think he's got away with that. Of course, the car will be suffering with aero damage. It'll be a little bit, perhaps more twitchy to drive. But overall, I think he's got away with that. And Dave Cam should still be in for a decent result. Michael Katab is in this battle pack as well. But his pace wasn't quite as strong as some other drivers. So for Gator and Vanier Kungus, there's still everything to play for them.
Yeah, I think Matt Gator's going to be the big one out of this one. It seemed like he like I said, the initial contact doesn't look like there's any damage between the cars. Etu, he got sideways out of 2 again and held on to it beautifully. But that's the thing, like there was later contact on the lap between Vanier Kungus as well, which I think that's probably going to affect him at the moment, whereas Matt mostly avoided all that. He was obviously a bit later to get back going again, but the initial contact with Vanier Kungus didn't do any damage. So I think at the moment his pace is probably, in this pack, his pace is going to be the good one. You can see it looked like Dave Cameron got very sideways. He got a very poor run out of turn 6 as they run down. Kotab is going to have the run, and look who's just sitting behind. Matt Gator is going to be looking at this and thinking this is going to be a good opportunity. The 2 Ferraris side by side into 7. Kotab will get the job done, but Cameron is obviously not going to let this get away too easily. Gator sitting in behind at the moment. He's definitely got the pace, and Cameron's damage, is that going to be affecting him at the moment? He's obviously made a slight mistake around that turn 5, 6, so it's obviously having a slight effect now as they run up to turn 12. Coming out of turn 13, as he got the run. There's another little touch between Cameron. He's rubbing the walls all over the place. He is not having much fun. He's going to duck straight into the pit. Yep, very good call. He's just not having much luck out there. So pit, get some fuel in the car, maybe clear off a little bit of damage if you can. But that's good for Gator. It's going to release him, and now he can chase after Kotab.
Yep, and when he wasn't getting held up by Cameron the last lap around, so not lap 17, but lap 16, 0.8 of a second quicker than Peter in third at the moment, who is getting held up by traffic as well. So Daniel Valk and Jensen Adrianessens is just holding up the driver of Peter at the moment and not really giving him an easy way through. So that's just holding him even more. So if Gator can get a very nice run on Kotab, who we saw didn't quite have the same pace as Gator in the early stages of the race, this can still be a big points day for Matt in that Audi R8 as he gets in the draft once again. I'm going to say he's a little bit too far back as the laps cars do get out of the way of our third place driver. Too far back for Matt, and he will have to sit behind for at least another few corners. I have noticed through this double left-hander that's coming up in just a few moments' time, he's going to be too far back this time. There's been a few times where he's just positioning the car a little bit differently to other drivers, and I wonder if into this right-hander, if one time he will go for a bit of a dive up the inside. Vadio Congress has gone around. Something has happened to him in what I believe must be a solo car incident, because he had a big gap to the car behind, and it was Gator in front of him, and it is going to be a solo car incident. The Audi has got away from him, so unfortunate there for the car number 6, which was running in position number 6. And what has happened? I'm going to guess he's got the curb? No, all by himself off no real, bump or curb or anything. He's just, unfortunately, unsettled the car and spun around. A great bit of avoidance action there from Kotab to actually not make any contact there. So interesting to see as Matt Gator and Kotab all dive into the pits, as does Vanio Kungus, which is understandable.
Oh,
Kotab!
Oh, contact. I didn't quite catch who that was, but
Gerard
he just stopped at the exit of the lane. I'm not sure what's happened there. Has he had a technical issue or something? But
yeah,
Kotab didn't see it coming, and he's just rammed him.
That is a weird one. I've just looked at the in-car dash, and there was no pit limiter active at the time of contact. So that was just purely him slowing to a stop at pit exit for some unknown reason. And you can only feel bad for Peter, who is going to continue in this race. But that is just very unnecessary contact and very unfortunate. Sorry, that was Michael Kotab involved in that bit of contact there. So that's going to give Matt Gator an even bigger incentive there to try and hunt down the Ferrari in front. But this race is just throwing up all kinds of twists and turns. And in that little pit stop exchange, Dave Cameron has managed to stay with Matt Gator in front as well. And of course got the advantage with Vanio Kungus after that little slide as well. So lots of position shuffling at the moment. There's still a few drivers yet to pit, including your entire top 5. 9th and 10th and 11th place as well yet to pit. So lots of drivers, lots of strategy still to pan out in this particular race, but there is everything going on at the moment as we see more drivers diving into the pits. That was 5th place Jens Heiler, who dives in and makes his one and only pit stop in this race. And we're seeing pit stops much shorter than we otherwise would. Normally we see them in the 10 to 12 second range. We're seeing a lot of sub 10 second pit stops in today's race, as well as Matt Gator continues his hunt, and I don't think he'll have any pressure from Dave Cameron behind, who's just falling away a little bit.
Yeah, just hasn't got the pace in that Ferrari at the moment. The damage will definitely be affecting it, but yeah, you have to feel sorry for Michael Kotab, because as you mentioned, those pit stops, Kotab has the fastest pit stop at the moment of a 7.6 second stop. And he was actually over 2 seconds faster in the pit lane compared to the drivers behind. That's why he has this massive gap at the moment. So he'd done his pit stop beautifully well and got a massive advantage out of it. And then, yeah, unfortunately, something out of his control is going to sort of take that away. He's definitely still got a bit of pace at the moment. Whether or not it was enough to really keep him ahead of Gator anyway. Gator's obviously had the more pace tonight in general, but if you've got that bit of a gap and you can use it as Gator gets it sideways out of that turn, if you've got that gap advantage, sometimes you can just use that, just manage that gap as best you can and try and get the run to the end. There's only 10 minutes left in the race, but as we can see at the moment, the rate that Gator's catching at the moment, I don't think Kotab's really going to be able to hold this spot.
No, I don't think so either. It's going to be very, very close as we head to just 10 minutes left in this race. The time is running down very quickly. We're looking at roughly 7 laps to go. So expect your leaders to be diving in extremely soon as we continue to watch the battle of Kotab and Gator. 29.3 for Kotab and a 28.5 for Matt Gator. So that's just a casual 0.8 of a second in a single lap. Gator has the pace, but does he have the place to actually overtake here at Belle Isle? There are not many opportunities to do it.
Yeah, there's not a lot. Your turn 3, your turn 6 are your best spots. He's obviously confident to have a go at turn 1. It didn't quite work out for him the first time he tried, but he's definitely got the confidence to have a go. You can see the run out of 6, heading down towards turn 7. draft at the moment. Doesn't look like he's catching overly quick at the moment. But is he going to have a little bit of a dive? No, he's going to stay behind, but gets very close to the rear bumper. He had to sort of jink to the left a little bit to avoid contact. You can see once again, he gets it sideways. He's really driving the wheels off. There's that lapped car, pulls over beautifully. Well done to that driver. We can see pit stops. The leaders are in, Peter as well.
Yeah, and that's crucial for Peter.
Yeah, get that stop out of the way. And it looks like Messniger is still going to be in second, but there's a little bit of a gap. Marco's had a really good stop there and pushed the gap out a little bit. We can still see this battle at the moment. He's got the run. Is he going to have another look? You can see Kotab goes a bit narrow. Gator not going to have a look, but now he's going to be setting this up. This has got to be the setup for turn 3 as they run out of 2. He's got the run down the straight. You can see Kotab going narrow, just sitting the car to the right. Try and force Gator to go around the outside. Is he going to have a look? He's definitely going to have a look around the outside. Just there, but Kotab's going to get a good run off the corner and hold that position. Now he's going to have to switch his focus. He's going to have a bit of going defensive early there, Kotab. He's definitely feeling the pressure at the moment, but he's handling it well. Out of turn 6, he's going to be looking for that run into 7. That Audi just has really good pace off the corners, but still that little bit too far back. I don't think he's really going to have an opportunity as they head down into 7. Yep, not close enough. Looks like he's going to have to hang back for another lap.
Yeah, he is, and he's still just running a bit wide in some corners, just sliding the Ferrari around and just feeling the pressure at the moment. I really did think, though, that Peter was going to come out a lot closer to these guys in Kotab and Gator, but he's managed to jump them by the form of, I would say, about 3 seconds at the moment. So Peter, who avoided that incident that went on in the crazy lap 17, I believe it was, has maybe perhaps got himself out of range and have got himself a podium position out of all of it. So that is a big effort there from Peter, who started 6th on the grid, moves himself up to potentially a 3rd spot now, which is just phenomenal for him, as Gator is going to be left wondering what could have been with 5 laps on the clock. But is it going to be a 4th place at the end of lap 23? He's in the draft. How defensive do you like from Kotab, who blocks as hard as he can? We've seen Gator go the long way once. He's going to go twice. He's going to try and hold it a bit tighter, though. Get a better run. They're side by side this time. There's still leverage. Careful not to be fed into the outside wall. It's so easy to do. And he's almost got the wall. Couldn't quite hold on, and will have to sit behind. Contact again! And they've made more contact. They both stay on the road, but a few beaten panels to pay for it. These guys are battling hard. I really don't think the door was open there for Gator. Is that desperation slowly sinking in? He knows the clock is ticking down. He knows opportunities are limited, and he knows he has to make a move soon. Late on the brakes again, getting right behind the car in front, the Seagate sponsored car. It is getting very nip and tuck between these two, a bit wide from the Ferrari now as they enter the final sector of the circuit. Will Gator fire it up the inside here? It's possible, but it is a last lap maneuver, not a lap 23. Again, sliding the car goes Kotab. He is not comfortable. He is under pressure. He is feeling it right now. The Audi, of course, the livery that ran in the Bathurst 12-hour, it feels like a 12-hour marathon for Kotab right now, holding the car behind as they fight their way down the front straight to start another lap. And every lap so far for the past 2 tours, Gator has attacked hard into turn number 3. Is he going to make it 3 from 3 in turn number 3? We're about to find out. It's just a poor run, actually, from Kotab. He got too much inside curb. He's compromised his exit. It's deja vu. Gator to the outside. 3rd time lucky. All good things come in 3, surely. And it will be a good thing indeed for Gator if he can pull it up around the outside, gets the exit, and in a long time of trying, finally gets the spot away. Oh, hits the wall though.
Oh, and a bit of a tap on the wall as well, just for good measure. But yeah, fantastic. He kept lining that one up. He obviously knew he could get the job done. It was just a question of whether he could get the drive off the second turn. Off of turn 3, because that's where Kotab was really making the difference. But fantastic effort by Kotab. He did everything you possibly could. Didn't really put a foot wrong at all. He just made it as difficult as he could for Gator. But just that pace of that Audi at the moment, just too good. You can see Dave Cameron sitting behind at the moment. Haven't been paying too much attention to his pace. He has been catching up, but it's mainly because the two cars in front are fighting so hard. Gator just checked that gap out very quickly. He is out of here. Don't think there's going to be enough time to really chase down Arpita, so it'll probably just be 4th place for him, but I'm not sure if Dave Cameron either has the pace. That car also damaged from earlier contact in this race, so limping home these two cars, but there should be about 3 laps left in the running for these guys, so never know. If Cameron can find a bit of pace, he might have a chance at a run.
Yeah, absolutely, but it'd take a big effort if Kotab, would have to take his tyres to go off or something in the remaining laps, as one Aragon's is gone again, unfortunately, and he's not having the best race. That's the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen for Juan, unfortunately, go around, and it was the same place we saw for Vanio Kungus a little bit earlier, and it's just in this double left-hander that comes up after this very slow speed sequence. The Audi clearly just a little unsettled, not comfy in this particular section. Does he get the curb? No, exactly the same as Vanio Kungus, completely off the curb, just steering on put, and there must be a little bump there that is just throwing those Audis around, and away he will go without any real chance of correcting the car. So a bit of a shame to see there, as the race has sort of died down in the remaining 2.5 laps of this race. So a bit of a good chance really just to have a bit of a talk about the battle scars of these cars and how difficult it is to drive a car with all this damage. Because we see the likes of Dave Cameron with so much damage to the left side of his car. That Lambo on screen with plenty of front side damage. The Audi on screen at the moment with the right side damage. Just there's so many factors that go into a street circuit race that a lot of drivers don't think about. And one of them is the skill to be fast with a damaged car, because it's something that is often overlooked. Because anyone can be fast with a clean car, but being able to drive around a mechanical issue is a whole different skill.
Absolutely, and with these cars, the aero does play a big factor too. Like, they are sort of GT3s. They're not the most. Oh, you can see the front guard missing completely off that Audi at the moment. But they're not the most aero cars when it comes to the GTs. But the same thing, like a bit of aero damage will just affect the sort of the grip levels and the straight line speed, and it does affect your confidence. And that's the big thing you sort of mentioned when it comes to driving a damaged car. Confidence is the big thing. If you've got a steering wheel that's a bit out of alignment, or if you bit down and top speed, it just knocks you. So you don't have the confidence to really keep pressing on with it. If you can sort of feel what car you kind of have left under you, has it got the ability to keep pushing out those hard laps? If you're not really confident in it, then it just sort of fades away from you. You just really can't really get the most out of it. So, the biggest thing about these sorts of tracks is just surviving, just keeping it off the wall. Minimize that damage that if you can, and try and keep the car able to fight towards the end of the race. As you sort of see, Matt Gator is probably a perfect example of that one. He's just managed to avoid most of the incident, kept his car relatively clean, and you can see with the two cars of Cameron and Kotab, just they are not able to fight. They're not able to hold him off. And it's just because they've been, Gator's just been able to keep running consistent laps and keep the car clean.
Yep, absolutely. As we have a look at on board with Alvaro Martin at the moment, who's about to begin his final lap of the race. And he's going to try and hunt down Vanio Kungus, of course, with a little bit of damage to the Audi in front. That has a bit of a margin to get to the car in front. So we might direct our attention to Marco Kayla, because he has had... Oh, what are you seeing, Simon?
Vanio Kungus into the wall on the exit of turn 2. Same thing as before. What happened in that fountain section? Just lost the rear of the car. Same thing again. Just looks like it's just as he's come over the crest, the rear of the car has just got away from him.
Super unfortunate there, and that Audi, was beaten once, it was beaten twice, and sadly it's beaten him thrice. It has not been a good day for Vanio Kungus after what was looking like a very promising day, starting 3rd on the grid. But starting from 1st on the grid is Marco Kayla, and guess where he's going to finish? A dominating display. This is what he couldn't do at Road America, but he gets redemption very soon after. Round number 5 of the 2021 Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series goes to that particular driver in the McLaren. Great effort there from the man from Finland. 2nd place goes to Leo Masnaga, who of course did everything he could to get to the front runner. Sadly, didn't quite have the pace, but Peter, a driver we sort of overlooked a lot of the race, avoided the big incident of the race that had everyone talking, and he steals a podium away in a great display. Exactly what he needed to do. Gator in 4th, and we'll have Michael Katab in 5th place, as E2 Vanio Kungus is holding on to a top 10 at the moment. in a very, very wounded Audi. We spoke about driving with a damaged car. No one knows it better than him, and the straight line speed isn't there. I'd love to make that sound exciting, but the fact is Edward Deering was handed that one like a kid or candy from a baby. So very unfortunate there for Vanyo Kungus, who gets 9th. So great job from Deering, but a lot of these drivers was really a case of what could have been today.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of results that are being left on the table. This one, you can obviously see that pack. Matt Gator's probably going to be the big one. Definitely could have been on the podium. Dave Cameron, another one. You know, solid pace, solidly fast, but just, again, the results are staying on the table for those who can see these two cars coming out of the final corner. One will get to the line, will hold on to 19th. There's 19th and 20th place there. So, but yeah, a lot of unfortunate incidents for a lot of drivers today.
Absolutely. It was a very battering and bruising end to the race. In the end, it was a matter of 27 laps. And at the end, it was Marko Kala from Finland who survived it better than most. Liam Masnaga did everything he could in the Ferrari, but it wasn't to be. And to make it 3 manufacturers in the top 3 was R. Peter with an absolutely fantastic display. And, of course, avoided the chaos caused, unfortunately, by Matt Gator, who was doing everything he could. He had brilliant pace today, did Matt. Maybe could have challenged for the win. Sadly, it would be a very distant 4th place. Michael Katab held on very long to 4th place. Couldn't hold on in the dying laps, though, and would settle for 5th ahead of Dave Cameron, Alvaro Martin SC, Tobias Rona, Edwin Deering, and Ito Vanyo Kungus. Another bruising display from him, but at least gets a top 10 out of it.
At least gets home with the top 10. Felipe F. Gill will come home in 11th. Jens Hellier in 12th. Kevin Veldman in the Lamborghini in 13th. Fabio Iotto in 14th. Jose Manuel Casado Gil in 15th. Sam Devontier, another result that should have been for him. Phil Hudson in another McLaren. Darren Tune in 18th. Juan Aragones in 19th, and Maxim Feldes in 20th.
In 21st and a lap down, we have Daniel Valk, of course. A bit of a tricky race for them, as was for Jensen Adrian Nessens in 22nd. Goran Novak, Tommy DeWild, and Gerard Burrell all had big incidents over the course of this race. None other than Gerard Burrell with a very odd incident happening in the pit lane. Regis Lowton was an early casualty in the McLaren, clipping the outside wall at the penultimate corner. Anders Fundelius in at 27th ahead of William Ahola and Dennis Ostertag in 29th as well. Well, that was round number 5. For round number 6, we are heading to a circuit I never thought we would be seeing a GT3 race at. Simon, we're heading to Oran Park.
We are heading to Oran Park. Unfortunately, not around anymore. It's now a housing estate, but still we can relive the memories of this fantastic circuit on here. And yes, the GT3s around this track, it was tight and twisty with the concrete barriers, but Oran Park very short, and once again, not a lot of passing opportunities, but should still deliver great racing.
Absolutely. We're going to see strategy at an absolute peak at Oran Park. If you are someone that can strategize your way to a win, it's a free track. All you need is one of the GT3 cars. Get yourself on the grid and make it a very interesting round number 6 of the 2021 Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series here on SimSpeed TV. I'm Bo Albert on behalf of Mr. Simon Mazzomo and in the director's chair, Mr. J.K. Kennedy as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?